imagine that you are outside in July in Phoenix and you are near hot asphalt. Now, I don't know about you, Joe. You like to go outside. You do a lot of running and walking and things like that. Normally, though, I think you and I have discussed this. You wait until the sun goes down.
Typically, yes.
Yeah, because it's hot.
I burn very easily, too.
You are a delicate man.
I take my shirt off, and within 15, 20 minutes, my neck starts to look a little red.
Little red?
Little red, like the hue of the countertops in the room we're in.
So there's this guy who was just outside on the phone in Phoenix in July and had an encounter with Phoenix police officers.
Mm-hmm.
And according to him, he was just hanging out. He was just talking on his phone, and police approached him, and they started hassling him.
And then they told me like instantly in a like a mean hostile voice that they were saying like, you're being detained, and I said, but I'm on the phone, what did I do? Like, I didn't do anything, please explain to me. And they're like, why are you getting antsy? Why are you seem like you're nervous? And I said, I'm not, I'm just, you scared me, like you told me I'm being detained and I didn't do anything. Can you at least explain to me? I want to sit down, let me sit down. Like, look, I'm not trying to run. And I sat down on the back of some random person's truck.
I saw that, yeah.
All right, a video from ABC 15. All right, so this dude, Michael Kenyon is his name. According to him, police just approached him and started saying, what are you doing? And he says, I'm just on my phone. They said, you're being detained. And he was like, well, what are you talking about? I feel like there's more to that story.
There well might be. The problem is when things like this happen, we don't hear from the cops' point of view because it's not active investigation, but it's pending litigation.
Yeah.
So we don't know what's going on as far as the cops' side. They won't tell us.
Don't jump too far ahead here. Why is it pending litigation? Well, that's because of what happened next. Joe, you like to wait until the pavement cools before you go running on it. Mm-hmm. What if you were being laid on it? According to Michael Kenyon, the police put him on the hot pavement in the middle of July.
It happened on July 6th, a 114-degree day. Michael was walking to a gas station when officers stopped him. Now, records show he had an outstanding warrant, but Michael claims he didn't know he had one. And Phoenix has since admitted these officers didn't know it either. They were looking for someone else. And so far, Michael has not been charged for anything that happened on that day.
Okay, he's walking along, and officers mistake him for someone else.
But he does have an outstanding warrant.
Doesn't really matter. If they didn't know that he had an outstanding warrant?
That's random, isn't it? You've got an outstanding warrant. Cops are looking for someone else, but they end up taking you down to the ground?
Depends on what part of town you live in.
That's just a random circumstance?
I mean, the officers admitted that they didn't know that he had a warrant.
No.
Yeah. I mean, depending on where you are in town, I think the concentration of people with outstanding warrants varies greatly.
I don't even mind that they took him down to the ground on a day that happened to be 114 degrees.
It's what happened next.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
About 15 seconds later, Michael stands. The video shows them struggling for about 30 seconds. Then more officers run up and take him down.
They said, give me your arm, stop resisting. And I think that's when like 5 people were on me, and I'm just screaming for help. And I'm scared. I'm thinking like this is like the moment when, George Floyd was literally like. Mm-hmm.
All right, so he's being crushed. He thinks George Floyd, they're going to pin me down. I won't be able to breathe. But this isn't Minnesota. This is Phoenix. And they threw him down on the pavement.
On July 6th, 114 degrees.
So then what starts to happen?
Michael spent more than 4 minutes on the blacktop before getting handcuffed, then picked up and dragged to the police car. He said his skin was already bubbling and peeling away.
Oh. According to the lawsuit, or the intention to file the lawsuit, he suffered third-degree burns across much of his body after being pinned on the scorching hot pavement. Now,
For 4 minutes.
For 4 minutes. Now, listen, most of us, and when we think of third-degree burns, I don't know about you. When I think of a third-degree burn, I think of momentary contact on something that is extraordinarily hot. Mm-hmm. For instance, somebody who might ride a motorcycle, they may catch the exhaust with their heel. I've run into a few friends that drive motorcycles. They hit that exhaust pipe with their heel, and all of a sudden, whoa, real bad burn on their leg, for instance, right? Okay. Momentary contact with something extraordinarily hot.
Like you put your hand in the oven and you forget to put a mitt on, for instance.
You grab the oven, right, exactly, something like that. In this case, it was long duration on something that is pretty hot. So what is a pavement? I mean, we've seen measurements of the pavement before. What is it, 160, 170 degrees, something like that?
Guess.
Yeah. 4 minutes of compressed contact on that means it took a long time for him to cook to third-degree burns. This would be like this is Hansel and Gretel stuff here.
And this
You're
also
in the oven as it's being turned on and warmed up.
This isn't just a finger or a hand or a leg. This is his face, his arms, his legs, and his chest.
They included photographs in the
Notice of claim.
Notice of claim. Thank you. I'm glad you came up with that for me. And the photographs show that the skin had been peeled off from his shoulder all the way down his left arm. Across his chest, I would say between his pectoral muscles, the skin above his right knee to the center of his thigh and then spreading out, and then most of the skin all the way around his left knee, as well as his right arm, again from about the mid upper arm, all the way stretching down onto his hand. All of this skin had suffered extraordinary burns. He is scarred for the rest of his life.
Should point out, too, he still has not been charged with any crime for whatever happened on that day that led to officers taking him down to the pavement for 4 minutes.
Also should say, we don't know what that outstanding warrant was that they discussed either.
No.
I mean, that could have been outstanding warrant for parking tickets.
Now, we know that on December 30th, he filed a notice of claim for over $15 million.
And he says it's the cops' fault. In fact, he specifically says not just the ones that did it to him, but everybody up the chain.
In the settlement demand, Michael Kenyon's attorneys blame Phoenix PD's deficient training, unconstitutional practices, and violent culture, writing, quote, "And there is little doubt due to a lack of training and supervision. Indeed, through 1,147 pages of operation orders, there does not appear to be a single word guiding officers about the severe risk of injury posed by holding subjects against pavement."
Huh. Doesn't that seem like common sense, though,
yes,
in Phoenix?
100%. I don't need to go through over 1,000 pages of operation orders. Common sense tells me you can't leave a subject, detained or not, on the ground, on the pavement in July in Phoenix for 4 minutes.
I mean, wouldn't you cuff them and stand them up? Obviously, he was surrounded by officers. He said he was jumped by a bunch of officers. Wouldn't you immediately cuff them and stand them up off the pavement?
I would think so, unless there was a reason for their own safety that they're continuing to hold them down on the ground.
What if the reason is we're going to teach them a lesson?
That's not a good reason.
I know, but don't tell me that kind of stuff doesn't happen, because we just had a DOJ report that said that excessive force is rampant, right? Which is kind of it is a complicating factor in this entire story.
Thanks for watching the Chris and Joe Show. Click to see more from Chris and Joe and tap the button in the middle to subscribe to KTAR News.